Welcome to season 3, episode 2 of the Fake Book Club podcast. I'm Whitney and I'm accompanied by my co-host Tabrija,
Yo,
Tessa,
Hello.
Evelyn,
Hello.
and Chris.
Hi.
We might ruffle some feathers today with our literary opinions that kind of unpopular for both our audience and amongst each other. Before I restarted this recording, there was a very heated conversation about dog-earing pages, which we will get to later. And we might not get to all of them, but hey, we can always make a part 2. We want to emphasize that these are emphasis our literary, unpopular or literary, parentheses, unpopular, literary opinions. But if you end up listening to this later, feel free to share your own. So with that, we're going to kick it off. We're going to talk about books first. Audiobooks count as reading. Tabrija.
yes, they do. And listening, there's always been a constant debate, and I don't understand why, that audiobooks are really not considered reading. Actually, some people say it's considered cheating, which is absolutely ridiculous because an audiobook is still the form of the book. You're just listening it or you're encountering it in a different way. And I know that I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks, especially since the pandemic. It gives me a time to, like, when I'm commuting to work or I'm cleaning around the house, or just maybe I want to have like some downtime, I will put on an audiobook and listen. It's very nice to have a great narrator reading the story to me. And I don't understand why this is always a constant debate that audiobooks are not considered to be reading, and I believe that is not true.
Does
I was
anyone
just gonna
disagree?
say, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, audiobooks are reading, and I'm tired of pretending that they aren't. Even if I personally cannot do audiobooks, I know they're super important for a lot of people. Like, I have friends who like have, you know, mom responsibilities and other things, and the only way that they can actually like do both, like stay committed to reading and also like take care of all the other things they have to do, is by doing audiobooks. And it's such a good way to like experience a book. And the I think audiobooks have also like really improved over like the years. Like the amount of detail that goes into them now is actually really good. And casting for audiobooks are also like getting better and better. The authors also
They-
have like a lot of like control over like
yeah,
who like
Mhm.
dictates.
they can have a say in who they want to narrate, and it's more than just like a person reading the book. They make it into a production. Like, I recently listened to an audiobook and there were sound effects accompanied with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when the character was running, you can hear someone like panting like they were running, and you can hear like the outside
It's on
background.
treadmill.
Yeah.
Hey man, Foley work is important.
Yeah. And then also when it was like a podcast recording, not a podcast recording, like like a police transcript, and they were like listening to a recording. They had, like the two different narrators talking to one another, and they had like, a kind of like if you were listening to like a police transcript recording on a television show or something. They had it like on the audiobook, and it really felt lifelike, and it just really added more realism to the story while you were listening. And so, yeah, audiobooks are just more than just like a person rereading the text from a book. It can just like turn into a massive um like narration production.
That sounds, no, I agree mostly, but do we need the extra bells and whistles? It's almost sounding like you're turning the medium into something else, which is fine, but like, how far away is it getting from the book? Do I need to hear the police sirens to? I know what police sirens sound like.
I don't think it takes away from the book. I think it's like what Tessa said, that there are some people who are not able to sit down with a physical book. So they want to give them like not maybe the same experience as they do with a physical book, but just like something different and an added experience that they could encounter and to make it like more realistic to them as if they were reading a physical book. Because you can, yeah, like you said, you know what a siren sounds like and you can imagine it while you are reading the text. But then if you're listening to the audiobook, I feel like it's a lot different because you are more focused on the person's voice. And then having those added sound effects is just like, oh, wow, I feel myself immersed in the
Yeah,
story in the sense. So
I
I
was
think, yeah, I don't think it takes away from it. I think it's just like for people who are able to engage more with the audiobook narration, I think it's just more, it just still provides them an immersive experience, but just in a different way.
yeah, I
It
was gonna say the
sounds
immersive experience is like part of like when you I think for the experience for a lot of people when they're physically reading is the immersive experience of like letting their imagination work, and like an audiobook providing that immersive experience as part and parcel of that is like also equally important, because like what use is you listening to an audio when you're not paying attention or immersed in the experience? Like it should be pleasurable, it should be fun.
yeah. I think though the strength of the narrator could allow for not needing the extra siren. You know, so if something heightened is happening, maybe you could hear it in the narrator's voice versus let's add the bells and whistles. And before you know it, it's almost like a light movie. You know what I'm saying?
I will
I
say,
it
like,
doesn't. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
sorry,
Sorry.
just real quick, I will say, like, because we do play D&D and, with our friends, with our groups, as the game master, I'm narrating everything. So does my narration add to tension? Yes, especially like if I take pauses, if I'm able to like, change my voice, whatever. However, what I've noticed a lot is that, and mind you, I do play music for when we play, and it's usually like low in the background. Uh, but sometimes the music helps to add like that tension to the scene, to like whatever I'm narrating, because maybe the music will suddenly spike up as something what's called like something happens that I'm narrating, and you could see it in the players' faces as they're just like suddenly there's panic, there's anxiety all of a sudden. And so I think the same thing when it comes to audiobooks. It's like, is it bells and whistles? Maybe if you're overdoing it. Like, I don't know that I like personally, I don't know that I need to hear cop sirens, because that might actually just make me take my headphones off and be like, "What's happening?" And it's like, "Oh wait, no, that's the book. Never mind." But like, if you're doing something like going back to like the police transcript, right? And you see that on the TV, and maybe like when they're doing it in the audiobook, they maybe put like a filter over somebody's voice so it sounds like it's coming through a radio. That sounds awesome. But like, yeah, I think there's a good balance to be had, and it really depends on, because like Tessa said, I'm somebody who can't do audiobooks either, because I zone out completely. So I will have to constantly be rewinding. It's like, oh, never mind, I missed half of this. I'm completely out now.
I will say like much the advantage also of the audiobook is you can rewind, you can go back. And like with regards to the D&D experience, I was watching like a live broadcast of like a D&D live play, and in for a moment I forgot that I couldn't rewind this, and I hadn't been paying attention for a moment, and I tried to tap back to hear what they had to say, and I forgot it was live. So I'm just here like, what an it's so funny when you think you're not in an immersive experience and you're not paying attention, versus like you are in an immersive experience and you are paying attention and you are very into it. So I'm just like, oops.
Yep.
And they don't do it for all the audiobooks.
No,
No.
not
because
all.
yeah,
The,
because I feel like the bigger publishing, yeah, the bigger the publishing house, the more sound effects you might have. It does, like Evelyn said, it does really help with the narrator. I feel like if you have a really good narrator, you don't need sound effects or anything like that. But there are like the bigger publishing houses like Penguin Random House, Macmillan, they have been using a little bit more because they do have the money and the budget for it. Um, but sometimes just having one or two great narrators telling the story, that is suffice.
I guess for me, because I don't do audiobooks because like Chris, I suffer from I suffer from not having active listening skills. And I will zone out. Um, but I guess with the sound effects, right? It starts to become like an old-timey radio show, or for those who remember, like Welcome to Night Vale or something. It's just
Right.
like a that type of story, which I think is fine, but again, it's also different than just popping down and listening to it. Um, but I mean, I guess we can talk about this later because we just have an entire section about romance, but we can kind of hint at it. Like, how do in some cases, I'm like listening to some romance books or like regular fiction, and there's like a love scene, and then like the man takes over the woman's part. It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh when they do. And that's how it gets me back in because I was like, wait, this
honestly, it's so
makes
funny
me
that you
out
bring
so
this up.
bad.
Cause like if I'm hearing a spicy audiobook, like my poker face has to be so strong for me to hear this in general. Whether a man or a woman is taking over that speaking part, I'm just like, oh, my poker face has gotta be like on. No one
Oh,
knows what I'm listening to.
oh my God. I forgot why. Well, I think because I couldn't get the physical copy for whatever reason, but I listened to um what's the book called? I think it's called like American Royal by Tracy Livesay. American Royal. Yes, Tracy Livesay. And it is so good, but also you're just like listening to the it for those of you who will listen later, it's about basically if Megan the Stallion met and married Prince William, essentially. That's
That sounds
basically what
wild.
it's
Excuse me?
amazing.
Like, look at this cover.
It's amazing. I highly recommend there's two books in it. I hope she makes a third one. But there's two books in the series so far.
Oh my
And they're both about the same couple. But I just listening to this British man talk like try and talk like this black woman is hilarious to me. And that actually kind of what kept me engaged is when you're just like, wait, what?
That man is
Wait.
working.
He's getting his paycheck.
Yeah, right. But then like the reverse is also true because then like you have the woman, the female voice is she's a black woman trying to like be like this man, especially during their love scenes. You're just like so that kind of actually that's kind of what keeps me engaged. I will listen to a romance audiobook, but
Th-
anything else, I'm like, you're gonna like a spicy romance audiobook, but anything else, I don't know.
this looks amazing actually. Like I'm
I
looking at the
highly recommend
cover
it.
art.
It's one of my favorites mainstreams. Like I kind of want to own it, because I think I just borrowed it from the library. But yeah, I you should definitely read it. It's great. But yes, moving on to our next topic, special editions. Back to you, Tabrija.
I guess I put this one down because I've been seeing a lot, especially at the job in the library, a lot of special edition books coming in into as new books. And I'm like, oh, just there's just so many of them. And it's just like and I've seen like a lot of like at book signings that when an author comes in to sign and they have a special edition book, great. But I feel like that's more money for like for the consumer, and all they're offering is just, which are beautifully done, like either sprayed pages, or like the hardcover is a little like different, it has like a different design compared to just the standard edition. And I just feel like there's no affordability with books anymore, and it's just more focused on like how to increase the price of books and creating these like special editions, even though it's probably the current price of the book itself. Yeah, I just kind of annoyed about it all, and wonder if anyone had like similar thoughts and feelings about it.
I agree. Well, I don't normally buy like special editions, but it's always funny to me how they'll re-release the classics like Pride and Prejudice or like Scarlet Letter or whatever. And I'm just like, we don't I feel like that's kind of silly, especially because it's not like Jane Austen can add on to it, or like add a scene. I think like in some cases, like there's this series that I would read a few years ago, pre-pandemic, and the author has every intention of like going back and reworking it once the rights revert back to her. So in that case, I'm like, yeah, like redo it. But I think if you're just changing the cover, and I think changing the cover or like making it match like how Bridgerton now has like new covers or whatever, I think that's fine, I guess. But yeah, I'm never wowed by special editions unless it's like a signed copy or something, or it's like the first ever printed version, which costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we don't make that kind of money for for the most part. So it's not really worth it. I
Yeah.
so yeah, I agree.
I will say like obviously there's a difference between like special editions and like new reprints of things, like for example like new covers for a Bridger, because there's a tie-in now with the Bridgerton Netflix series, or like a movie tie-in, or a TV show tie-in. Like those are I think considered reprints. And special editions, like I feel I'm I'm at most neutral to positive, because unfortunately like it does cost more money to produce like special editions, and like to get edition, and I only really like them if there's special content that's included in the special edition, more than just a fancy cover, more than just like sprayed edges, or more than like the exclusive editions for various like places like Barnes and Noble or other bookstores, right? Um, I love when an author gets to talk more about the world of the book, or immerse us better in the book by showing us like an additional chapter or like a prologue or something. But then there are like really fancy like editions, like the leather bound ones, and now then I'm just like, I think those only really work best for the classics, because like
Yeah,
it's the only way to
unfortunately,
experience that. Like,
unfortunately, I'm a sucker for those like leather bound ones, like the ones that you see in the Strand. I love buying those editions. I don't know why. It's also probably because if I have like the one I'm currently holding is the Collective Tales of Edgar Allan Poe. Like if I had an like a paperback, it's probably old, it's probably brittle, and this has illustrations in it, and I love that shit.
yeah. I actually don't know if I support leather editions for a book that's currently coming out
No,
these days.
absolutely.
But like, but like, A special edition can be fun because I have wonderful editions of some books, and I'm just like, oh, I'm actually glad I have this edition versus the regular, because not only do I enjoy this book, I happen to have a really nice copy of it, you know. But I don't normally go out of my way for a special edition unless I'm enthusiastic about the author or the work.
Yeah, I think besides like the leather-bound ones that I have, I think the only other special edition book that I have is one of the Princess Bride ones.
Oh,
And it does have like extra material that was not a part of the original story.
we
So
have like 5 copies of the Princess Bride
we
in
really
various
do.
editions.
Although I think one of them is the movie version, right?
No,
Like it's got like images from the movie, no?
I don't know actually. We'd have to double
We have
check.
way too many Princess Bride stuff in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, yes, we do like a good special edition as long as we also like the book.
Yeah.
But
Like it feels like we have like the regular mass market, and then suddenly we're like, oh, they came out with a nice trade paperback with a pretty cover. Let's get
oh
it.
yeah, that's
And
me with
then
the Metamorphosis. I have the like penguin illustrated cover edition of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I can't imagine like giving that treatment to like something like, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm sure they've already done it, but like Court of Thorns and Roses definitely is and that entire series, someone out there will probably like make a really cool like hardcover or a leather bound or something, and they're gonna be like, this came out of the Fey realm, of course.
Mhm.
Like for marketing purposes, I understand. I understand.
Actually, a leather bound
I do
version
not
of that
feel
would hit hard though.
it would.
Like soft leather. Ooh,
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not buying it.
I'm not buying it. It's
But
not. It's not for me. It's
no.
not for me. But I see the appeal.
I mean, if you like it, if it's like one of your most favorite stories and most treasured stories and it's worth it to you, yeah, just buy that special edition. No one's gonna judge you, I think. But there just comes, not but there is a point where you're just like, well, damn, like how many Princess
Exactly.
Bride editions,
There
special
is a
Uh,
huge
editions do you need?
there's a
Do
or
huge
how many
trend,
do
isn't
Thorns
there?
needs
of
to be
Roses?
redone.
Yeah. There's a huge trend, isn't there? Like on Book Talk or other platforms that's like, oh yeah, I'm sure I have received every single like special edition of this particular franchise, and therefore I will show them off on my shelf to show how huge a
Yeah.
fan I am.
Yeah,
Like it's not for it's not for everybody. Like it's
yeah,
the special editions are there for collectors, special editions are there for the people who are big fans, special editions are there for like, you know,
right.
yeah, it is ultimately like all, to push sales and like, and like adds to the marketing of the book. So like,
Mhm.
Overconsumption.
I have
Yeah.
a bone to pick about overconsumption, but we're not doing that
That's not here.
here.
That's not today's.
That's not today's.
The it's just gonna be in a landfill. And this is why
We need to
you
start
should dog
burning.
your pages. Anyway,
No,
so
burn the witch.
Sabrina has one last book hot take, and then we'll move on.
Uh, well, I think Tessa touched a little bit about it, is like when they change the cover of a book when like a TV or a movie adaptation is
Hmm.
coming out, and then they change the cover. I don't. I just feel like that's just pointless. Just put a sticker on it saying, "Oh, coming soon to Netflix," or "Coming soon to a major
No
port."
stickers.
No
No
sticker.
sticker, but I
No
mean
stickers.
reprint, you know what I mean? Like
We
reprint
know.
the book and just put a label saying "Coming soon to Netflix." It's like I don't understand like changing the entire cover with
I mean,
a and it just like it's only gonna, and you only print like a limited amount of copies, or just for,
I will
and also
say,
they're gonna end up in the landfill. It's just
no,
like
but
I don't see the
it
point
does
of it.
circle back to the whole marketing thing. I mean, at this point, you are promoting the series that is now based on this or adapted from this.
and sometimes you want to make it easier to find for the consumers who are coming from like the up from like a TV show or a movie.
Yeah.
I understand it. I don't support it.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. I hate those covers because sometimes they are worse than the original covers.
Yeah.
But like, I understand it from a marketing point of view, where I'm like, yeah, I mean, you already have an audience that's now like watching this, and they want to come back and read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, make it easier for them to find, but do not stop printing out the original covers. That's my.
Yeah. I have had like I have had also, like, for example, books for young readers, or books like in that particular space, wherein I'm like, I really loved the classic cover that was coming out at the time that I was like reading it, and then like they, over the years, as they grow in popularity, or as they continue to make this book available, because maybe it's a Newbery Award winner, maybe it's something else, like they create new covers for them and keep them like updated, quote unquote, for the current generation. And I'm just here like, but the illustrated cover was so nice. Why do we have like a photoshopped like girly pop on the cover?
Now, the counterpoint to this, though, is if you've ever seen the old, like, covers for, like, Princess of Mars, the 1970s, like, pulp art that used to be on them, I
Yeah.
think a lot of the newer covers for them are better.
I miss pulp art, bring it back.
I miss some pulp art. Do not bring it all back.
I miss pulp in general, bring it back. Give me
They
10
don't
cents.
sell well.
Fine. Sobbing.
Oh my goodness. And so now we're on to my book opinions. And again, this is something that we touched on before we hit record. Dog-earing of pages. I do not believe in the sanctity of books.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Oh my
the
God.
tree is already dead.
The wild
Oh
wood-
my God, that's
We
not the point.
We already tore it down, pulped it to death, put ink and paper on it. I think and I bought it with my money in a lot of cases. So I'm
Oh
gonna
my
dog ear
God.
my pages. I'm gonna dog ear the pages. And there is no sanctity of a book. There is no like
That's
whatever of a book.
oh
It's
my God.
They're
paper.
rocket ships.
Oh my God.
It's going to be okay.
I'm sorry. It's like you finding just like a piece of a piece of paper. Is that like the hardest part of just
All right,
bookmarking a
counterpoint.
page?
You rip off a page you've already finished and start using that as a bookmark.
Exactly.
Better?
That's what I'll just start doing.
I am going to go over to you, Queen, Chris, and kick your ass.
And if you want
Because
to
you-
find us, our address is bleep.
Wait, what is so precious about the book? Tell me, what is it?
Yeah, like what is so precious that I can't dog ear a page? And
Well,
you know what? I will say I am guilty of dog earing a library book,
All right,
but
see, now you're a monster.
but you know what? Another library, it's eventually gonna go in a landfill.
Yeah.
And
go in a way. Well,
when it gets weeded, because
I
I'm
can
the only
see
person
Percy
that's
just
checked
falling
it
down.
out.
if it's in a good condition, it gets resold somewhere. If it is
It
really
gets put in
bad,
a giant dumpster, and then it's going to be on the news with people.
I am not confirming or denying anything.
Gonna be on
I
the
don't know
news
what
with
she's
people
talking
that
about.
have a ton of
I
books
have
on
no
it in
idea
a
what she's talking
dumpster.
about.
We
We're
did
gonna
not
have like
identify with the dumpster that the
I
books
don't know
were
what
in,
dumpster she's
despite the
talking
fact that
about.
we are
But
trash.
look, and also a dog-eared page is the absolute is nothing compared to what other things we have touched being returned to us at the library. I found a
Again,
roach in a
we're
book
getting
once.
off topic.
I found a roach.
That's so true.
In
We're
the grand
getting off
scheme of
topic
things,
about,
a
like,
dog-eared page. I
Oh
won't
my
dog-ear
God.
your pages, Sabrina. If you lend me a
You will
book,
not.
I am not
Because
going to
I have
dog-ear the pages because I
in high
respect
school, I had
your
three of my
stuff.
people. It's like, what did you do to this book? Why did you dog ear this page?
Look, you lent me Blue Period. Not one page was creased. Not
Because
one
first of
single
all,
page.
you don't bookmark. I feel like you read manga in a straight sitting.
Yeah.
This book, are you not
Oh, well,
supposed
there you go.
Oh,
Wait. Are you not supposed to
Please.
finish an entire, book in one sitting? Am I
Sir-
doing manga wrong?
Sir, you
No.
open a rift in time and space to read all the books that you do. I do not like you are an outlier and you should not have been counted.
True. But back to Evelyn's question, like, what about a book where we just can't dismantle it how we want?
What is it?
So, like, first of all, when people are saying like, oh, I am like elitist and precious about a book, I can show you. I have a very beaten up copy of Pride and Prejudice. It's torn and stuff. I just reread. I took it all with me. I reread it. I underlined it. I highlighted it. Put post-its on it. It is so beaten up, and I still will reread it until it starts falling apart. I also have another book, and then I put tape on. I put book tape on it to put it like a little bit back together, because I do not have the very expensive book binding materials to properly assemble the book and properly take care of it. The question is, if I'm doing all this, why
The
is
solution
like
to
dog?
that I will give you when we are no longer recording.
God damn.
Oh my god. The reason why it's like dog earing a book is like and maybe this is just for me, because as someone who like who took rare book school classes and stuff, it does destroy the page, because it's very acidic and it will start to tear off. Paperbacks don't last as long, but with hardcover it lasts a little bit longer. But you want to preserve the book, because yes, the story itself is important, but also the making of the book, the workmanship, the artistic style of it, that's also important as well.
This is
Just
a
to say like,
James
oh,
Patterson
Right.
mass
of all,
market.
Like,
I mean, honestly
well,
spoken, like a
that's
true
whole
librarian.
that's a whole
I get it.
that
It's
no
a book.
one, like,
It's
no
still
one,
a book.
your personal library
If we're talking
is
about
It's
Jane
not
Austen, that's a
being
whole
preserved by
different
the
story.
Library of
That's a
Time out.
Congress.
A
whole different story.
Harlequin
Oh,
romance.
Jesus Christ.
If you
We've
you have
lost it.
two librarians here on this podcast. If you want to dog ear a James Patterson book, you have my permission. You know what? Just do it. What you want with it. I don't
And
care.
I will.
don't
James
care.
Patterson. There we go. James
But
Patterson is.
if you
the
were talking about other books that are not James Patterson,
No,
and I
I'm
do
always
mean
talking
James
about James
Patterson and an additional author on it as well.
No.
Hey,
Yeah,
him
yeah,
and
no,
Talking about
Viola
all
just
the
wrote a
other
book
books,
together. I
it is
kind of want to
Oh.
read
even
It
though it
takes
is
a
a book,
village.
even though it's a book that is mass produced, it is still a work of art. And maybe because this is like me, as Tessa said, this is the librarian in me, because I took book arts in when I was in grad school, and I see the workmanship and the time and it took into creating that just one single book, and I look in the history of it, so I have more of an appreciation for books. So when people say like, oh, I just dog ear it, I'm like, well, what is so hard to just find a random piece of paper and just like, hey, put it in the book?
because
That
the
doesn't
piece
work.
of paper could fall out, and then where would we be?
God, you just like you close
Where
it
would
and
we
then you
be?
have it in
If
your
it falls out, where would my place be? How would I know?
Actually, I do have a question though. When you dog ear, do you like unfold it once you start reading again?
Yeah.
You just leave like several dog-eared pages.
No, I
That's
unfold it.
fun.
Huh?
I unfold it.
Okay, cool. That's all
I
I
don't
needed to
leave
know.
them dogs.
No, no,
It's
no.
just like,
I
and
I
the thing
have a
is-
worse. I just remembered and realized I do have an even worse proposition for you.
No.
There are like paper punches that allow you to create like a divot in the page so you can like immediately zoom to your last place in the book.
That sounds
Ooh.
horrifying.
Ooh,
You're
but
piercing
also I
your
don't want
book
to
now?
carry
Is that
it.
what I'm hearing?
I
No,
like
the punching
I don't
that.
want to carry.
It's
But
like-
that
it's
does
like-
sound cool.
I will say this was not meant for I will say this was not meant for like
Reading
books
books.
for reading books. It is meant for notebooks, for journals.
Oh, okay, that makes
Because like because you it's like you know those little tabbed those like little tabs that sometimes you can put your finger in and then you go to that that chapter. That's what
Mhm.
they're meant for. That's what
Oh,
they're meant
those
for you to
things. Those are
create.
cute.
I will say that is more cursed than just a
Yeah,
dog ear.
so much more cursed.
But the thing is, like, as to your point, Sabrija, like you said, like, oh, I have like this super well-loved book that I take with me everywhere that I've marked up, but like pen and marker and being is also damaging to a
Yeah,
book.
you
So
have to be
what's the
using like
difference between like
archival.
that and like one or a couple times of folding down a
So
corner?
I am a person who if I annotate, I use pencil, not pen. I know there are some people who will use pen
I thought you said highlight.
and highlight. I mean, highlight is not great either because that is can be damaging and acidic to the paper. But
Definitely
there are some
damage.
people do highlight. I said I
Ah,
use pencil. I use pencil
Yeah.
because that is much better in preservation of the book.
no, see, the solution to this is you buy two copies. One that you're gonna
Oh my
annotate, one
god.
that you just keep on the shelf. That's it.
But how is that different from like standing on the hill or like, dying on the hill of like you must dog ear and you must not dog ear. Like
I
it
don't
feels
think it's
like
an
you're
for me it's
straddling
not an
both sides
either
of the
or.
argument rather than actually standing on one of them. You
It's
know what I
it's to me
mean?
it's
Wait,
not
wait,
an
wait. What did
either
you say?
or. I just want the choice and to not be I'm not judging you if you want to not dog ear and use a bookmark or a piece of paper or
Listen,
whatever.
I
I want my choice to be acknowledged.
it
And for me
seems
it's
it
not that
it seems like
give me
everyone is
choice.
it
I'm
seems like
pro-choice.
everyone lacks like a lot of pieces of paper and bookmarks. I have so many bookmarks that people have given me for free, and this is just a random piece of like you just like cardstock. I could give them to you if that makes it easier for
I
people so
don't
they
want to because I'm going to
I
do
will say you can't you can't control the actions of thousands and millions of people out there in the world, and ultimately, like, we have previously talked about how multiple editions of a book can exist, multiple copies of a book like is respected or disrespected. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stick to all are valid, and
yeah.
what people do with their books is their choice. There will always be somebody who respects it more and that gets preserved, and there will be someone who disrespects it and still will still get preserved in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Your
All
property,
this to
your rights.
say, exactly. All this to say, I will continue to dog ear my pages
and
as
I
I
will
see
say
fit.
this if any of you borrow my books and you dog ear any of the pages,
We're not borrowing from
I
each other.
would
there we go.
never, I would never borrow
Yeah.
from you
There
ever.
we go.
We will
There
never
we go.
ask.
No, I would rather borrow it from the
But
library. I
the
got
thing
you.
about
There
it
you go.
though, if I ask to borrow it, I know you don't like to dog ear pages. And the thing is, I wouldn't do that if, to your stuff, because I don't give a shit about the
Yeah,
library.
it's
But
respect for other people's
but I
property more
respect
than it
other
is,
people's
Yeah.
stuff. I'm not gonna dog ear your stuff because yeah, it's not mine or the library's.
I
But
will say
moving,
I have bought a book specifically so that I could annotate and study it, and I know that in the process I will like take it apart in both mentally and possibly physically, and I am okay with that because I've extracted like what I need from the book.
The ship of Theseus?
It's not the ship of the Is it the ship of Theseus if I like,
If you tear it
if I
apart.
tear it apart, reconstruct it, and gave it back to you, and expecting you to read it the exact same way? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, we've lost the plot.
here we have.
Just like the
I'm
ship.
I have one last book hot take, maybe, yeah. Um, in this segment, and it's books don't need to be 500 pages. And I know that's my attention span talking, but I'm just like, make books short again.
No, I
Make
agree.
books,
There should be
make
short
books.
books for quick consumption more than
Yeah.
ever.
I'm
Because I
just
miss
like,
the days when I would be able to get books like The Babysitter's Club or all of that stuff, and I could read it in quick succession, and I think it contributed to me telling myself, you used to read so many books, and then I look at the books like the books were shorter. The books were
yeah.
shorter, you consumed a lot of it, and that's the difference.
I
Well,
think for me too, it's just to Brisha and I just being on so many like book committees and book award committees, and you're just like, if I have to read, and we have to read them so in such a short time. So Tarisha, like, I'm telling her business, I don't care, is spearheading the mystery committee, right? Like, mystery books are Matt, like you have to read at least 100 mystery books, and they are all
Dang.
to like
Yeah.
300 plus pages.
Wait, really?
Mhm.
And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Like
I
because
there's no
I did
way
and
not
to,
consider mystery to be like such a genre of thickness. You know what I mean?
it's
it's
ginormous.
it's like I think I do agree that more books, especially, and I was talking about this with my with our friend Dina, and the fact that with mysteries, there are not as many cozy mysteries as there
Yeah.
used to be. And cozy mysteries were quick. They were like,
Yeah.
250 to 300 pages. They're not that many. You really have to look for them now. And I think it is a lot of dealt with like a lot with the market, how it is, because a lot in publishing, they're looking for, those thrillers, those dark thrillers, anything that they could possibly adapt into a TV series or into a
Right.
movie. And they are making them a little bit longer. Some of the mysteries that I have read, they were long. I didn't realize they were long because they were just so engrossing,
Yeah.
and you
Like
kind of
sometimes
forget. Yeah,
500 doesn't feel like 500, but
exactly.
when you are slogging through a book and you're like, "Ugh, God, there's like
Yeah.
there's
No,
over
because
100 more pages."
you really tell, but it's just so long. Like, one was like the Children of Blood and Bone. I was
Oh
like,
my
oh my
God.
God,
Let's not bring that back up.
I know. I'll
I
say
think
it briefly. It was like we read it, for our listeners, we read it as a book club pick, and it felt so long. And I read the print book and listened to the audio, and it still felt so long because I was like, she desperately needed an editor for this one.
yeah.
I
Damn.
mean,
That's the
That's
he
case.
did.
that's just
And
a bad
may I
book then, right?
Yeah.
Like it could
Yeah,
be any length as long as it's great. No?
I will say
exactly.
here's what I have with regards to like books not needing to be 500 pages and the current trend, I guess, quote unquote, of books getting longer for some reason. I have a bad feeling, and this is just a bad feeling that I'm having, that because of the literacy rate dropping,
Hmm.
more there is less subtlety and implication like in these books, and more over explaining, over additional context, etc. And like it's slowly becoming more necessary for you to cram as many words in this work in order for the audience to like get the point that they're making. And I think it's a lost the subtlety is a lost art. Trusting your audience is a lost art. Like
Yeah.
that's something that I feel in my bones, because I've definitely sat with a book and been like, why do I need to know this? Why like this plot point would have hit harder if I wasn't so overly aware of like what the hell they were trying to do with this point. You know what I mean? Like I think it's hard. And I don't know if that's something that's like um a publishing thing versus like an author thing. Who knows like where it is? I think it's an overall audience, it's an overall audience problem that's being addressed by this.
Considering the two, college age kids that I work with, none of them read for fun.
And
So
that's another
Yeah.
I'm
problem.
gonna say, yeah, this is probably an audience thing where they're demanding, like, oh, this is too complicated to read. I don't understand this.
It's also a Wuthering Heights thing too, because remember the whole bit with
Oh yeah,
because Emerald Fennell famously in an interview said that like the book is too complex and too what do you call this, too much, I guess.
Too dense.
And
too
Too
dense.
dense.
too
Yeah.
dense, thank you. And I'm just really here like density is not the problem, complexity is not the problem. It's refusal to engage with the work and the themes that it carries. And I have been so so like frustrated by the way that this has all been processed, because like we don't need a smooth brain Wuthering Heights. We need to be able to engage with these, with all of the problems that are in there, and put them, and make sure that the audience understands them in context as well. It's less. I think I've also heard something like, "Hey, content warnings. There should be content warnings." I'm like, no, it's not about content warning. It's not because there's graphic sex in Wuthering Heights. It's context providing. You need to give the audience like the context in which this book was written.
But going back to Whitney's point, look, I've
Yeah.
read 1,000-page fantasy books. And I think, as Evelyn put it, as long as the story is good and moves at a reasonable pace, I think it's fine. However, at that point, I should really start putting things into a digital like e-reader, because carrying around 1,000 pages looks like I'm about to kill somebody,
No,
which I think is
if
another
the
issue.
book doesn't look like you can bludgeon someone with it, is it worth having?
You know,
Exactly.
If it doesn't look like it could hold your door open, like in the
I think for me, it's just more in my experience of reading like these books, and to both your points, is authors can be long-winded, but I feel like this was before like the what's the word I'm trying to say? Since it's not sensationalized, but like the current highlighting of our literacy crisis, because people couldn't read before COVID, but it
oh
really
my word,
exacerbated during COVID.
I
But it's just
understand.
more like the long-windedness, and you're gonna gasp and hate me, but like I read Lord of the Rings, like obviously when it first came out, and I was just like,
when it first came
this
out,
is the movies
In the
Oh,
1940s.
and the movies when the movies came out, and they had like this giant
I
edition.
think I had the same edition.
Yeah,
It was
I
like the compendium, like the omnibus, right? It had all
yeah, the
the
I can
yeah.
omnibus,
pull it
and
off
I
of
was
my
just
shelf
I
if
like,
own
you
it.
want.
That's a different one. This one had
and
mine
that
had
one has a bookmark. But anyway, I read it, but I'm just like, why is this man taking why are we having 10 pages just talking about the Nazgul horse?
damn right.
So this genre, he is the godfather of this
You know,
fantasy
and I
genre.
respect
Why
it.
shouldn't he
But
take
like
You
10
just
meanwhile,
pages?
opened
Piggy
the
just dies. Like
you just
I will
opened a
say,
floodgate, Whitney. You just opened a
no,
floodgate.
no,
we
You shouldn't
we
have touched it.
We should have like a
it's a
Lord of the
great
Rings
story.
we
Like
podcast.
I
should actually.
managed to
I would be
get through
happy.
it,
Of
but
all
again, it took
books
me a
to bring
year.
up to be like, this does not need to
We
be
will have we
500 pages.
will shelve the
We can dive into that
conversation.
another time.
We will shelve
Mhm.
the
I will say
conversation
really very
about it.
quickly.
But
Sorry, very quickly about Lord of the Rings. I am kind of with Whitney on this because I read The Hobbit first and I was very, very happy with it. And then I tried to read Lord of the Rings, and like it did like kind of become a slog. So, and I love the book. I love the series. I love
mhm,
everything Lord of the
same.
Rings. I have a whole bookshelf dedicated to Tolkien. I don't have a problem. It is, but I understand what that feels like in the moment of like, why is this 500 pages? Because I was there. My
We were
It's
attention
like a
all
span is also
history.
trash.
It's
Yeah,
like a history that he's
Uh,
yeah,
writing. Of course, it's
it's
going to feel
the
like
you
that.
style of writing at that
you
point.
also have to be in the
Exactly.
right headspace for it sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
I
yeah.
have no opinion, and I'm just gonna
yes.
leave it.
That's fine.
And you are
That's
welcome to
fine.
continue to have no opinions.
Yeah. But
We defend people's rights to read whatever the fuck they want.
And all the wrongs.
exactly. Um, Evelyn, I know you have a point, but I think it'll be better in our movie discussion. So, Chris, let's talk about three books needing a
All right.
glossary.
So look, we just talked about the length of a book, just a single book being too much. Personally, I read my entire bookshelf is fantasy books. A lot of those fantasy books tend to be, 3 books, 5 books, 10 books. I think the Dresden Files is up to 15, right?
16,
16.
17.
I think if you're doing a book series, and I
Fact
mean
checking.
like a full-on continuous story, it's not like standalone in the same like universe, or there's like standalone that you can just pick up whichever book and you might be a little bit lost, but there's more enough information where it's like this is a brand new story. You don't need to read the past ones. You need a fucking glossary. You need a glossary. You need something that reminds me who this character is if you're going to bring him back 10 books later. Because I will not remember something that I read 15 years ago.
As a note, there are currently 18 books in the Dresden Files series by Jim Butcher.
And he does not have a glossary.
Absolutely none.
So I think, like, again, and this is a very specific, like, because I read a lot of fantasy books and, like, some of them do tie into, like, overarching, like, arcs and everything. And so I will forget a character's name. I will forget, thankfully, in the case of the Dresden Files, they do take place in Chicago. So I'm not lost in the world that's being placed in. But sometimes I just need a glossary and appendices, something that reminds me who these characters are, why they're important, where this is taking place.
I have a solution for you.
If you tell me to make my own doc, I will.
No. The solution for you is go to google.com and look for Dresden Files Wikipedia.
I
Yeah,
was just about to
know.
suggest that.
I have no skin in this game as I was 12 to 13 books into the Dresden Files and I'm technically 5 away.
10.
No,
Did you stop at changes?
I stopped the changes. It looks like it's the 13th or 12th book. I'm not sure. Wherever I fell off, I'm not far from the end, and yet I can't do it.
Well,
Can't.
I'm surprised that it doesn't have glossaries. I think what Chris is saying makes more sense, especially if you want people to read all these books, right?
Yeah.
It
and,
does.
Like,
I do definitely agree with that. It
I
should,
don't
if you
know-
have like a long spanning series, it should have a
Yeah, I don't
glossary.
know who decides that. Like, if it's up to the author, if it's up to the publisher, because there are, actually, the book that I've mentioned, that I'm reading currently by what's called T.L. Huchu.
T.L. Huchu, yes.
Yeah, he has a like was it persona dramatic?
A dramatis personae.
Thank you,
Personae.
personae. So he does list like the characters that are in the books and also the schools of magic, which I think is very important to a urban fantasy book concerning magic schools.
Is there a map?
There's no map, but it takes place in Scotland.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's like a future dystopian Scotland, but like it still has the same names of places, so it's fine. But he does list like, this is like this character is this character is this. This character is the former friend of, Moya Ropa, who's the main character.
I do
like stuff like that. And I think if you're gonna make a fantasy like novel, like a series, it's beneficial to people. But yes, I suppose online wikis do exist.
To be fair, also, like, the only reason why I also still support having a glossary in your book is because, like, wikis can be edited by anybody.
Or they could not be updated.
Or they could not be updated. So, like, yeah. There are, I'm sure there are dedicated, like, fandoms and, like,
probably hop onto the Reddit of like the Dresden Files and it'd probably tell you who characters are.
Mm-hmm. And like I'm as somebody who's trying to re-enter a Dark Academia phase, as somebody also who was very like not into Dark Academia books, I'm kind of like getting back into my era of like I will be taking notes on the things I am reading and taking notes of who and what because I need this for my memory and my silly little brain.
And I think like if you're not going to include a glossary, at the very least, when you reintroduce a character, give like 2 sentences to remind me who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
lots of series used to do this.
And I think Dresden used to do this as well. But I think there's some characters that he does it for, and other characters where where Butcher just assumes you remember who they are because they were in the last book.
Mm-hmm.
Except that the last book was published 3 years ago, so I haven't reread it since then.
Yeah, that's also a thing I think with inconsistent publication schedules.
Yeah.
If by the grace of whatever powers that be, an author was able to churn out a book a year, this would not be necessary.
Right.
But if you're going into 15 years with an inconsistent book update schedule, then that's hard.
Or do what Riordan does and have your own website where it does list all of the characters.
Yeah. Sanderson, I believe, also has a similar.
I believe that. Yeah. He's got a board game. He has to have all the characters somewhere.
He has an extensive.
Wait, does he have a board game or a card game?
He's got something. I cannot remember what it is. Yeah. Don't quote me.
This is very niche to fantasy. Because I don't think this is very prevalent to like standalone series or what's the like if you have like an Agatha Christie, I don't think you necessarily need to know the characters of previous books.
Uh,
No,
Yeah,
it,
you
I
just kind
mean,
of
it just, they just pop in.
yeah, they
And
tend to
if
be
you, if,
standalone. Yeah.
yeah,
unless
and if
there's
you are,
a consistent narrator, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah, like
like
if it's like,
Poirot.
yeah,
Mhm.
Poirot or Miss Marple, and you
Yeah,
might see other recurring characters, but if you are already a fan of the books, then you already know.
right.
Agatha Christie, she, she does not care. She's like,
That's there.
I, you should already know. I'm
Yeah.
You should
writing
have
it
read
down.
this already.
No, and like to be
You
fair, I
fake
guess in
fan.
that case, like a lot of those books are already, published and like packaged together. So it's a lot easier to just read them through all at once versus having to wait several years until the sequel comes out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Game of Thrones fans right now. Well,
Oh,
Song of Ice and Fire
He's
fans.
gonna die before those books.
Oh
Not to
yeah.
be morbid, but
oh,
uh,
knock on wood.
But
But
yes, wait, knock on wood for him to die or
no,
finish the book?
for him to finish the book, man.
Finish the
Like
book,
oh,
finish the
okay.
book. Yeah,
I
yeah.
look
Not to die.
as somebody who like like who used to write and hasn't written in like years, like I understand and
Yeah.
I have some sympathy. He's just a public figure. That's the difference.
Yeah, he's got all of his HBO contracts to fill out.
Mm-mm. But
Yeah.
hey man, if you get your bag, you get your bag, and I can't. And in this economy, I can't disrespect that.
Yeah. But that's my tangent on you need a goddamn glossary.
Yes.
I love a glossary too, but then
Uh,
again, I am a pedantic little shit. So
we're gonna briefly talk about graphic novels. Um, they also count as reading, but Tabrija, would you like to elaborate?
I think you basically said it. Graphic novels count as reading, and it's kind of, it's not kind of, it is infuriating that people, educators, even some librarians have said that they don't can consider like graphic novels and comics as reading because they just because of like, oh, it has pictures and very little text, and I'm like, well, that's ridiculous because you can read the pictures and gather from like the interactions of the characters' faces and the action from it. But it is like audiobooks, it is always a constant conversation, and it just needs to be nipped in the bud that graphic novels are an accessible way and a different way for people to read a story, and it's not hurting anyone. So why, well, why just allow people to read it?
Actually, to that point, reading a graphic novel is actually there's a very specific way that they're made, like the illustrations have to be made in order to be read correctly. So you're right, it is actually teaching a different type of skill because
Mm-hmm.
I like as someone who has done web comics, if you don't line up the um like sight lines correctly, your image kind of starts reading as being all over the place, or it's not a coherent way to read the image, quote unquote. Like if you have two characters talking to each other, that's kind of pretty basic. But if you start experimenting with like different angles, or if you have like a full page spread, the way that you design the page itself is so that it moves, like your eye moves certain directions. And it's, I think, more prevalent now as people have started reading more and more manga because they have
Mm-hmm.
to read it a certain way. And you don't think about it that way when you're reading like Western comics like DC or Marvel because they are technically done different styles, but they still do adhere to the same rule of the images have to make your eye move a certain way across the page, and it's also the way the dialogue boxes are placed have to be able to be read in a coherent manner
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise you do just end up with a kind of like mess on the page, which is something that a lot of graphic design, like a graphic artists, are taught to avoid. And it's the same thing when you look at marketing too. Illustrators follow a similar rule. They have to draw your attention, your eye to a certain place on the page. So I think it is. it's reading in the sense that like you're still consuming a story
Yeah, just
regardless.
consuming. Yeah, you're just
Consuming a
consuming it
story,
in a
you're
different
like
way.
you're improving reading skills because a lot of times, especially in comics, there are made up words or there are words that you have no idea like how to pronounce, which is going to challenge your brain to try to figure that one out, unless you're just speed reading and just ignoring things. But it is also giving you a different way to view images. It's teaching you how to like read an image and like know where your eye is being directed to.
I remember when I was much younger, someone like an English teacher once said like if you're having difficulty reading, like you still need to read, and she recommended at the time that Archie comics were good for building wit and
Yes.
humor. And I don't know if it is still true now, but I actually like I always kept that in the back of my head because it made me feel like even if I was reading all of these comics, I was still getting something from it because that's what it's that these are there are skills that comics builds in you.
Yeah, and it going back to Archie Comics, I think this kind of is the same itch as like bring back Pulp Fiction books that we were talking about. It's something that's easy to consume. It's something that was published what weekly, monthly. It's something that's accessible to everyone. And I think that is the importance of like that short kind of shorthand media. But Archie Comics especially, yeah, it was sarcasm on a page for the most
I
part.
So
I
true.
feel like webtoons has like kind of mimic that
Yeah,
style in a sense. Like
for a few times.
it's not in print, but it's like,
Mhm.
it's like comics that are some of the
Episodic.
yeah, episodic and they're published weekly. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
mimicking
and
that style.
before webtoons, like in the early days of the internet, there were web comics which had their own publishing schedules, and I think that also helped fill that niche. And
I
of course, you
have
could just buy a regular comic print. You
yeah.
know, every Wednesday, new comics drop.
I do have an issue with some webtoons specifically though, because sometimes like I do respect the creativity with the scrolling format. Love that for them. My issue is that I have gone through some webtoons and I have found some storylines to be incredibly dragging.
Yeah.
Like the something about that whatever the format is, and I'm blaming the format. I'm sure I should be blaming something else, but there is something about that really like grates on my nerves because most of them are trying to just go longer and longer, and maybe it has something to do with whatever payout webtoons is on,
I think so.
and like I do not like the drag.
No, I think it is to do with the publishing format or like
Mm-hmm.
whatever terms and conditions that they sign to when they
Yeah.
publish on webtoons.
I could read 5 chapters of like one new hit series that
And
keeps
you don't
getting
get
advertised me to me, and like they it's still one day. They've
Mhm.
only had one day of interaction. Get me out of this hell.
And I think that's a perfect, there are just other two, but I think for the sake of time, I think it's a way to perfectly end on more standalones, please, especially with
Yes.
webtoons and manga. Sometimes, like, I get it, like series and whatever, and we're not going to touch on stuff like One Piece, but it's just for the sake of the story, like,
20 years ago.
please, please.
Okay, but can I just say that the live action actor for in One Piece for Sanji is absolutely frying me right now.
Oh, I'm seeing all of the
I'm
content on the bird on the
I
doc app.
and I saw one reel of this man, and I'm like, I need him to stop. I need him to leave.
Yeah,
I don't consume One Piece. Sanji needs to leave me alone.
he's, I mean, they're all like that cast is very good looking. So it's
This
just
is
like with
fine.
even Usopp, because I think Usopp,
Oh,
the
Usopp is
character,
good.
is just,
No, they hired a what's called an actor who's way too pretty to play Usopp.
yeah. I was just like, ooh, well,
Respect.
we all had
Respectfully.
to, we all had to
Respectfully.
watch for some reason. But yeah, I think even with, yeah, with comics and graphic novels, I'm like, please just give us one story, especially because it takes so long, especially with manga, it takes so long for it to come here or like publish stuff. Like I'm like we're still what are we still waiting on, Teresa? Like volume two of what is it? Front Home?
Oh,
Like
What?
if you
Who is
just make by
a
Julio
whole
Arza, like if you
yeah.
it's been 3 years, mind you. Like if and now it goes to and then like my one of my favorite books is, you know, got caught up in one of my favorite comic series got caught up in the Me Too hullabaloo.
Oh
And so
no.
that's defunct. So now I'm just like I don't and that's another thing and then we can definitely move on. And this is why I will never read another series until it's done. Like I will not
uh
I
that's
I
great.
refuse. I refuse. I will like I'll let it marinate. I do not want to even with my TV like all the dramas and stuff that because we're going back to a weekly format now. Like the fuck. Um yeah, I'll wait till it's done. I have no problems
Do you
waiting till
also
the
sort
series
your
is done.
AO3 filters to only completed works?
No, we must move on.
I'm joking.
Oh my gosh. But I think that's another perfect segue into the movie can be better than the book. Evelyn, your thoughts on book versus movie?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I forget which one of you said in the chat you have to read the book to watch the movie. Like, no, the book
Wasn't me.
doesn't have to be
Wasn't
read
me.
at all. Put it aside. The movie is its own thing. It has a director, it has a cast. The medium's completely different. It's done. It's a whole other thing. And in that case, like there are plenty of books that some movies I've watched, I didn't even know it came from a book. Like some people don't even know that The Godfather is based on the book. They think it's just this amazing thing that Francis Ford Coppola created, which actually he elevated it so much more than what the book is because that book is so pulpy. If any of you have read The Godfather, you'd be like, man, this is really a trip. Whereas The Godfather is just a masterpiece. The movie stands way higher than the book, and there's a couple of more than a few examples of that. So I think just do away with it. You don't even need the context of it. Like you could just have it be its own. It can stand on its own. And say you like it, say you like the movie, maybe go to read the book if you want, and then you'd find out, okay, is it better? Is it worse? Doesn't really matter. It's its own thing. So I don't think we need to. It doesn't. It's not a hard requirement at all.
100% agree. I, like many other people on this planet, have watched Heated Rivalry, and then I went back and I read the books. I read the first book because that's based on the couple in episode three, and then I read Heated Rivalry, and then I read their second book, which is like 5 books since then. Um, which is the long game. And I'm just like, yeah, I have no desire to read the rest of the books. I will wait for the show because Jacob Tierney, the creator and the director, just really like to your point, Evelyn, really elevated like the story and made it make sense. And Rachel Reed, she's not a bad writer, but she's also like not the best because part of our earlier conversation a book her book was not 500 pages, but at a certain point you're just like all right, what like why how am I still reading this? And I just happened to read it because of the the library letting folks read the whole series
Yeah.
during Valentine's, so I was like, oh well, let me just get to it. And fun fact, super quickly, is, and it's fine if I think we're gonna go over time, but that's really okay. We only have like one more section left. Um, I, brain fart. So fun fact is I downloaded the books, um, onto my Kindle reader, like the Kindle Cloud app or whatever to read them. And they got returned, but because the file was still open, I was still able to read the book.
Oh, that's so funny.
Man.
So just letting people know, like if you get
Speaking of which,
just
It,
don't close it. Still continue to read it because it was like your book got returned, and I was like, but I'm still reading it.
But in this case, it would have been better if it just returned it. I want my life back.
Yeah,
I tried reading the first book. I just could not. I did not finish.
yeah,
Skipped to the second book. I said, this is so mediocre. I've read better
it's
fanfic.
yeah.
It's
Well,
just,
it's Stucky fanfic is what it
that's
is.
what I've heard. That's what I've heard. And it's not even great Stucky fanfic. So I was like, if I read this first, I'd be like, no, I don't want anything to do with this story. Nothing in it held me, really. So 100% Jacob Tierney. Listen,
Yeah.
bad. Like,
Also,
Damn.
and also I love Hudson Williams. Yeah, I love both of them, but Hudson Williams a smidge more just because he's a total babe rock star. But anyway, um,
Uh,
could
so I
yeah,
am
do it.
a, I don't say like I think it was me who said that, like you should read the book,
I'm
like
shocked.
either before or after. Chris, you're really close to getting your ass kicked.
I
Like,
can't defend you, darling.
No, nor do I deserve it.
anyway, however, I do believe that yes, an adaptation can stand on its own because like recently I watched 56 Days and on
Um,
Prime. And this 56 Days was based on the book by Catherine Ryan Howard. I love
oh,
that book.
The
I
graphic
read that.
novel.
No, not the graphic novel. This is a mystery.
Oh,
It
Yeah,
took
okay.
place
yeah.
so the setting in the book is this couple who started dating, but the pandemic happened. Everything went into lockdown, so they had to stay in an apartment together. And 56 days later, one of them ended up dead. And so the book is leading up to what happened, who is the dead body, and what happened to lead to that point. So there was an adaptation of for Prime, and they changed a lot of things. It's like for the TV series, like it was more like sensual, sexual, erotic, and also it doesn't take place in Ireland. It's takes place in America, and it does not take place in the pandemic.
that's what I was
And
about to ask.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I really did appreciate, and I thought, and when I did hear about it and I saw the trailer, I was a little hesitant, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna watch it, and I absolutely loved it because, like the author said, both the book and the TV series could stand on its own, and it definitely did because the way the TV series ended, who the dead body was completely different compared to the book. But it didn't really deter me like from the TV series or made me like dislike the book. Actually, it makes me want to reread the book because I've read it like in 2021 when it came out. So, and there's like most cases, the adaptation can stand on its own. I do think that people should read the book eventually down the line. I used to be a believer like, oh, you should read the book before you watch the adaptation. Now I'm like, you can watch the adaptation first or vice versa. You should read the original form down the line if you enjoy it because once they say it's based on yada yada this book, I mean the book is connected to it in some way, and you should read the original context. In most cases, like the one that like put down, like for the Hunger Games, I've said many times on this podcast, I hate the Hunger Games the book series. I really, really do. However, when I watch the movies, I like the movies better. I can. I did not want to. I know, and Tessa's trying to hold her finger in. I did not want to kill Katniss while watching the movie because I was like, I like Katniss in this one and not in the book because I wanted to slap her in the book. Um, it was more enjoyable in that sense for me watching the Hunger Games series compared to reading the book. I wasn't like feel like in excruciating pain. So like there's some cases where an adaptation can stand on its own. And in my case, you actually like the movie much, much better than compared to the original source material. Go ahead, Tessa.
There will be no rebuttal from this corner. I have opinions of the Hunger Games movie that will set this podcast on fire.
On the other hand, I agree. I could not read the book.
That
Yeah,
is
the
fine.
I read the book, so I can critique it, and I could agree with Tabrisha that it was like so meh.
I had to read the book for library school because it was like a young adult literature
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
And well, I struggle with assigned reading, so it could be nothing.
Oh, that's
But
so.
it was,
Issue for a different,
No,
different.
but
truly, I get
yeah,
that. The assigned
it-
reading bit. I'm like, oh wait, like you've told me to do this, and
Yeah.
that's why it hurts.
yeah, assigned reading, that again, that's a whole conversation for a different time. But yeah, I struggle so much with, sorry, I'm cooking while we are recording this podcast.
Amazing.
She's a multitasker.
Exactly. I'm making fajitas.
Yes.
And on today's episode of Cooking with Whitney,
Yeah. And I have bread in the oven.
There you go.
But yeah, it was just very hard to like slog through. What I do like about the books is the more overt characterization of the characters, like
They
they're
get more
people of
time.
color, or like
yeah.
Katniss is potentially biracial. um at least that's how I interpreted it, like because her mother is white, her dad was from the seam, is that what they call it?
This
uh,
was in the
he's
book.
there was a yeah. In the district, like
Well,
there's two
because
major
District
like
12 is where the black people live.
no
No,
no no
she's
District 11 I think is where the black
11 is
people
where the
live.
black people live,
But
so
the way it was interpreted is that like they were from two different social classes, and the
yeah.
social class and both social classes have two very distinct features, and you can tell if someone's from the seam, which is where Katniss's dad was from, and if you were from like the upper part, which is like the more well-to-do part of District 12. So yeah.
Basically, to me, I interpreted it and how Jennifer Lawrence is styled in the movie. To me, she was at the very least half Native American of some kind.
Have
But
something,
Sure.
but like it's also very what's the word for it, ambiguous about it, so
yeah,
like yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely did not.
no. Well, I totally understood that, like, at the very
Again,
least,
book
District
versus
12.
movie at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, truly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But well, you see how people got upset that Rue was black, and I'm just like, well, she's
She
from
was black in the book, so
she was exactly. So
That I do remember. Yes, I
mm-mm.
remember.
They were upset that she was black in the movie and black in the. You know what? We're
Yeah,
gonna.
I know.
There's so much. That's why I have
I thought
like
they were
she was
upset
because
that
Katniss was
completely
like
misread things.
olive or
yeah.
Mediterranean skin toned or whatever, compared
There's
to
a
her
lot.
very fair mother
The
and
Hunger Games
sister.
is a landmine, so I'm like,
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
It's fine. So we're going to actually, Chris, do you want to talk about
Just
Percy
very
Jackson?
briefly, because I listed Percy Jackson, the movie adaptation specifically versus the books in this case, because while they are wildly different, and the movie was very, it was poorly received, somehow managed to get a sequel that was just as poorly received. However, I do believe that the movie adaptations got way more like hate than they actually deserved.
Yeah, vitriol more than
Yeah,
anything.
because I'm like, unfortunately, when they decided to adapt the Percy Jackson novels, these are novels aimed at like 10 to 15-year-olds, like young readers. However, this was also like the time that the Hunger Games were like being adapted, Divergent was being adapted, so they decided to age up the Percy Jackson characters. And I'm like, that was probably not a great choice to a lot of people, because of the storylines that the books dealt with. However, the way that they adapted them into the movies, I don't think was bad. I think the plot line could have been a lot tighter, like the storylines that they used. but they essentially hit the same narrative beats that the book did, just with an older cast and just, a little bit slightly different. So I'm like, I don't think they deserve the hate that they got, and I do think in their own way they could probably stand on their own. Do I think they should have kept the Percy Jackson name at that point because they changed so much? Probably not. It probably would have done a lot better if they had just chosen to call it a different series, or,
Yeah, Peter Johnson as
yeah,
the
like any literal, like, just call this a new, like, teen fantasy, and it probably would have done better because, hey, it wasn't 1-to-1, but the effects were still pretty decent. And again, it hit the same narrative beats that I think worked with the book and the movie
yeah,
themselves.
basically it's gonna be like Peter Johnson and the Sword of the
Yeah.
Thunder God.
Like, it's not gonna, it would still
Copy
probably
the
get hate.
homework.
Yeah,
Copy the
exactly.
homework just a little bit.
Yeah, it would have been like one of the 1970s, like, claymation movies at that point. It's kind of based on the myths.
Loki.
Oh my
But
God.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think to the
I
point.
adding to that too was the fact that Riordan was
Oh
also
yeah, he
not
also did not
he
like
did not
that
like them,
adaptation.
and therefore like this hatred gained traction.
Oh yeah.
Not that I blame him. I understand.
Well, people hate the TV show, and he has a hand in that one. So there you
Yeah,
go. You
there.
can't make them happy, apparently.
Yeah, there's no pleasing everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
well, as
TV
long
show
as
is being
Rick
pretty
likes
good
what
adapted.
the work that's coming out now, I feel like that's all that should really matter.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because I
So
don't think he didn't have. I was about to say Peter Jackson. Um, Rick Riordan didn't have much of a say
in
in
the
the
movie,
movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think that it was like it's like Chris said, like during that time, it was a lot of like, the Hunger Games, Divergent, and they were a lot of the authors, the creators of those popular best-selling series, they didn't really have that much of a say in the movie. They were just like, we have the rights, we're going to do whatever the hell we want.
yeah.
I think now with the book adaptation, like adaptations of books, I feel like authors have more of a say because I see like a lot more author like for example like 56 Days, like Catherine Ryan Howard, she had a producer credit. She was really involved in the writing of the screenplay, and like Alice Feeney with His and Hers, the same with the Netflix series. So I think like now authors have more of a say in their adaptations.
It truly depends on the rights the author has to
Yeah.
the these are all very much outlined very early on, and sometimes like you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, because, like, how are you supposed to know you're gonna have a TV show based on your books? Because actually, now that I think about it, the Dresden Files did have a TV show that lasted one season, had almost nothing to do with the book, but they were still fun to watch. And I think sometimes, you lose sight of that. They are fun to watch. They're good movies, they're good TV shows. They might just have absolutely very little to do with the book that they're based on. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because, as the point stands, they're able to stand on their own. Now, whether or not sci-fi can, pull out the budget for 3 to 5 seasons of an urban fantasy novel, that's different.
Amazing. So now we're getting to what is probably going to be our most controversial and final segment of our podcast. We're going to talk about romance. Um, we this is probably have our most our most opinions, and I think it's just mostly me and Tessa, but we love each
We are
other.
back and
So
forthing in the in our what's
In
it
the
called?
signal chat.
In the signal
in
chat in the run of show.
our run of show. But I think it'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. But we're gonna start off tame with Tabrija's steak.
Yeah, we could briefly talk about it, but I said that I do think men should read romance novels. I think it's not I don't think it's weird or anything like that. I think it came to me when recently a patron came in and he wanted paranormal romance
Hmm.
novels, and I had to ask my coworker because I was like, I have no idea. But I did find him some. I was like, oh, Katie Robert here. Katie's
Oh,
in
Katie Roberts is
Persephone.
good actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just it's always like once in a blue moon, you always have like that patron that asks for like the odd, what you think is the oddest request. And I didn't think that was like the oddest request. I just thought it was unique. And I feel like more men should, instead of like snying at romance novels, I think they should embrace it and actually give it a read it and give it a try.
Yeah, like to be fair, when I saw this opinion, I thought it was like, oh, men do read romance novels, and I'm just like, reword, men should read romance novels. But it's only because like I'm coming also from like a perspective like I used to be such a big romance hater, and now like I'm such a big fan of it. And I'm like, I think men should read more romance because like the dating scene is apparently so rancid right now, and
It's
no one knows
horrendous.
no one knows how to respect a woman. No one knows how to
I don't
respect
even
each
date men,
other.
and it's terrible out here.
Yeah.
So I've heard.
Yeah, truly it's a lot of like chatter going on online right now that like the men are getting worse, and I'm like perhaps a nice romance book would actually set them to rights just a little bit. Who knows?
Like create some empathy for some of them.
I don't know about that. I feel
I
like it
agree. I
might
don't know
turn
about
them
that.
off even more, to be honest. Like, if
And
something's not,
then they should go. Then they should go.
it should not. They should not, I think.
Look, they should read, certainly.
They should read full stop.
Just full stop. And not performative reading either.
Like, oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
nothing will
I don't
turn
want to bring
someone
this
off
up.
more than being told, "Oh, you should read this." I'd be like, "No."
Yeah. Or
I
just
don't.
read nonfiction because I feel like that's what men tend to gravitate towards.
Yes, a
I
lot of nonfiction, a lot of
Most men,
philosophy.
Chris, most men.
Sorry. I balk at nonfiction, I'm sorry.
Gosh, no,
There's
there's a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think men should read, full stop. I think men should definitely do a romance novel at least once in their life, and maybe it would give them some perspective. And I think that's good enough. But also, I feel that like we're either A, giving them far too much credit, or B, too little to do with regards to the amount of work that needs to be done with regards to like whatever they need. So I'm like, I'm going to be right there. Like let's give
Wh-
I'm giving them at least that much.
Yeah, whatever is the problem, fiction or reading romance novels is not going to help it,
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate.
unfortunately.
Just be glad you're off the market, Tesla.
Oh, bless.
Um,
Oh my god.
Well, look,
okay.
I have also read romance novels. They're fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm also probably reading like very light, like romance, or like almost what would uh qualify as more like pulp romance.
That's
But then that super deep romances.
I mean, to be fair, you
Mm.
also enjoy a good rom-com.
I do.
And
Rom-coms are fun to watch.
that's how I know that like, hey, if I suggested this fun little romance book to you, you would think it's at least funny.
Yeah. It could be a lovely rom-com, yeah.
Yes.
Which I do miss as a movie format.
Oh god.
I will say, and I'm sure this is based off my algorithms, but I am seeing more men, even straight men, reading like the heated rivalry books because of the show, or Game Changers books, technically, because of the
Mhm.
show. And so that's a whole other conversation of their consumption of it, but that gives me some hope, but no matter, yeah,
Like,
I
look,
don't
as
know.
long as it's not performative,
Yeah.
that's the important bit.
It's like they genuinely want to read and like offer commentary
And hell
about
yeah.
it. So
Mhm.
hoping that they'll read something else. I think also getting into the weeds about it, but I also think like Colleen Hoover has really distorted what mainstream romance can look
Yeah.
like. And it's like she's about to come out with the third movie based on her book.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah,
yeah, it's
Verity.
like
Which
with
one?
it
Verity.
no,
No.
not Verity. It's coming out. It has Tariq Withers in it. I think before After You, I think it's called, where like
Reminders of Him.
Yes.
Oh, that came out on DVD already. But the
No,
Verity, yeah,
it literally, meh.
I thought it did. I thought it came into the library. I saw the
No.
DVD. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of something else. But I do know Verity, yes, that is coming out sometime this year. Because I think it has
Oh yeah, Colleen Hoover's
Dakota.
Reminders of Him leaps to number one at the box office on its opening day,
Yeah,
23 hours
reminder
ago, from
of him.
an article.
Wow.
Okay. But
So
So
yeah.
it did
then
come out.
oh, okay. So what am I thinking that came out on DVD?
And that this is not a debate for this episode, but like
Mhm.
chick lit versus romance. I've like I wanted to bring that up, but I was like, that is a whole other thing
Mm-hmm.
to kind of discuss.
But they did announce Verity. They announced Verity as like another movie, but like but it's not out yet. Reminders of Him
No,
is
it comes out. Yeah, it comes out, I think, this year. And it
October
has,
2026.
yeah, with
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway and,
Dakota Johnson.
dear God, yeah, her.
Hmm.
I liked Dakota.
Come on, she's had 3 bad movies. It'll be fine.
I saw, what was it? Was it Madam?
Madam
You
Web.
actually sat through that?
Wait,
I
what?
saw it when it
I
was on
borrowed it
Netflix.
from the
Oh.
library.
Look,
I saw it when it was
It
on
was
Netflix.
horrible.
yeah, exactly. I turned it on when it was on Netflix. I watched the first like maybe 15 minutes of it. I was like, this is unbearable.
It
How?
was really painful.
It was
Uh,
rough.
it was so bad. I was like,
It was
oh, so bad.
horrendous.
Alright. I have
But
nothing.
let's get into it nicely. So, so most of my romance hot takes on here are from me, but I guess let's kind of hop around because I want to like, let's make this, should we, I guess it's all going to end in fun, but I kind of want to give Evelyn the floor to talk about cryptid romances.
Oh, yes. This is based on a book that I had started, which I am not going to name because I think it's an advanced reader copy or something like
Oh.
that.
Oh wow, cool.
So I was like, yeah, it's around. I'm going to give it a try. It is not my cup of tea. I mean, it's about Mothman. Well, one of the stories was about Mothman, and then you got Bigfoot, and then you got, I think, the Jersey Devil eventually. It's like a bunch of
Oh,
stories
I see.
inside this one book, but it was like a coffee shop kind of environment. And I know most people would love this kind of thing and would eat it up. Like, oh, Mothman is a barista at the coffee shop. How cute. No,
That's
I
really
just
funny, actually.
I
Just
just
straight up
like
no.
I was just straight up no. Like, if it's gonna be a cryptid, which by their nature are creepy and should remain creepy, horror writes, like, let it stay in the genre. And it could be sexy too. Like, it could have that element of like, oh, this is grotesque, but also like hot, like you can write that and go all the way. I'm just saying, like, if you're putting
Evelyn,
in one of these monsters, commit to it and just make it as
Ev- Evelyn, I
visceral
desperately
as
want to see your
possible.
Hear Me Out cake.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. Actually, Chuck Tingle had a whole slideshow about this when he was at like visiting a bookstore. He's like, "Who would you date?" And it showed like the alien, from the movies
I love
and things
that.
like that. So, like, just let it be gross and just like really, like the entire time I was reading this, they even described this Mothman like wearing like a flannel shirt or something, looking like a Brooklyn hipster or something like that.
Oh, that's
If I can
hilarious.
imagine
Jersey. Oh
like
wait, no.
that kind of
Mothman, Mothman.
He's from
character,
Vermont.
like it, but no, but the way he was described, it was just like
Oh.
a certain type of person. I was like, no, this is just a person now. Like,
He's
what
just a
makes this
dude from
person
Vermont.
Oh,
actually
that's
cryptic? It
funny. Do
should.
you remember that episode where it's like this is just a man?
Yeah.
Like sorry, Chris and I were watching like episodes of Drawfee on YouTube where the four artists like take on like fun like drawing prompts, and one of them was like drawing a monster. And for one of them it was just like they ended with Julia, this is just a man. She
That's
just
what I'm
drew a man.
saying. You neutered the entire concept of what this disgusting monster should be. Well, not
I
this.
laughed
Maybe.
so
So
hard.
it's not ice barbarian.
Ice Planet Barbarians.
Although I guess that would be a good example, huh?
I've seen. I
Like
mean,
let's stop cutefying things, especially for
Yeah.
cryptids. Like let's just make it
I
let's make
kind
it
of
what it is,
I
right?
kind
Yeah.
of agree because I do expect that if you have a cryptid on the cover, like you should lean into it, but also at the same time, like I do unfortunately enjoy a cute, fun little just a touch of cryptid cuteness.
Most people do, I think. I think that's why it's like this is cropping up in the romance genre more. But like,
Yeah.
if I was gonna read something like that, it
Just
better
want
not
straight up monster
be
fucking.
cute.
That's fine.
Yeah. No, that's fine, honestly. But I just think coffee shop AUs are fun.
No, I love them too, but don't put Bigfoot in it or anything like that. Just
What
like,
do you want? Bigfoot can't have a cup of coffee.
no, he cannot.
Probably not, actually. It
I'm
might kill
joking.
him.
Oh,
Yeah.
but what if not?
He can come into the coffee shop and he can like destroy everyone in sight. Like, let's do
He's
You
on
it.
a
know what?
laptop.
You know what? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm convinced. I'm just like make cryptids accessible, and
I mean, I don't think they want to be, though.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's
you
look
know
at it
what?
from their point of
Basically, if you
You
view.
wanna
have hit on a
have
very
sex with the
fundamental
swamp
point.
thing, go ahead.
Exactly. It's just like Shape of Water. Like, make it
Which
like
he does have a love interest, by the way.
Yeah,
a
he
swamp thing.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True,
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't
Real.
know,
Or I'm confusing
But
it with Creature
all
from the
right,
Black
but at the very
Lagoon.
least, like he does
but
look like a monster. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Oh,
we can all
completely.
watch like Shape of Water, okay?
Yeah, he's not wearing jeans. He's not wearing cute shoes.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do
I
it.
do like the manhwa and like webtoons where uh they're just and they just have like the ears and maybe a tail, but then I'm like, why do
Oh,
they have two sets of ears? Like they don't have human ears, but then like wolf and bunny ears.
no, don't get me started on that. Don't get me
The
started.
that's
That's just an oversight. The artist was drunk that day.
So yeah, so let's move on to age gap romance. I am not a fan of it, but mostly I think it's fine if the age gap is, a person in their 30s with a person in like their 50s plus, but I'm grossed out a little bit by like the 21-year-old with like a 40-year-old. And what makes
yeah.
it kind of gross too is like, oh, well, the 20-year-old is pursuing me. Where have we heard that before? But then I'm also seeing a trend by authors that I read, like the indie pub romance authors, like where the age gap trope is like, oh, I fell in love with my best friend's son or daughter. And
Oh, frightening.
I hate it. And I would like for that shit to not be published, but I know that there's an audience for it.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
problem.
But Tessa brought up
I did bring
power
up.
dynamics, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like much more than the age gap. A power imbalance is much
Worse.
worse, and unfortunately, a power imbalance can be inherent with an age gap depending on what stage of your life you're in. Because supporting your point of like if you have a 21-year-old and a 40-year-old, they're like the 40-year-old is an entirely different stage of their life than the 21-year-old is. And like you can romanticize that all you want, but like what are y'all talking about really?
Yes,
And
what are you talking
and
Okay.
like for the 30 to 50-year-old thing, I did see this happen in if I recall correctly, you you made a fool of death with your beauty, which is a very wonderful like romance book. And it's about someone who they're both widows coming together, but it is messy, but messy in a good way.
about?
That was it's a fun it's a very good read, but that was something I could like get into more because like they are fundamentally like they're both in stages of their life and experiences where they're be able to bond together because they're both like they both lost their like spouses.
I think the problem is that people are relating this to real life, and that is
Mhm.
not it. So
Yeah,
Yes.
that's also true.
There and
if
I
you
Yeah.
write a 21-year-old and a 40-year-old, it's like a fantasy. It's not anything like what would actually happen.
this
Obviously,
is
it's
actually
wrong in
really
real life.
true.
Yeah, I
But the
agree.
fantasy, let it be what it can be. I mean, go even further, like
Yeah.
you could have
Fantasy
it be
Not
a
for how,
wider,
what kind of further?
only, well,
Fantasies belong in
legally,
fiction,
right?
though.
Well, but
Like,
but then also
Legally.
when I saw this,
18 and 40, cool.
Why
well,
not? Why
well, no,
not?
but see, and this
Yeah.
is a good, and this is brings up my point is like when you look at classic novels, like for example, Sense and Sensibility, you have Colonel Brandon and Marianne because people there's like a lot of discourse like, oh, this relationship like is a huge age gap. It's like very weird. Like how come Colonel Brandon didn't go after Mrs. Dashwood? It's like, well, first of all, this book was written in the 17th and 18th century. At that time, a 35-year-old would go after a 16 or 17-year-old because they wanted an heir. They wanted a child bearing life. So it was okay at that time. And I think we look at these when we look at classics and then people who write like either um, through traditional publishing or indie press, when they write these stories, they look at these classics like as inspiration and they incorporate it into their own story. It's not thinking like it's like, well, this is a timeless story that's been countless like told many times, and no one sees a problem with it. I'll just have this like similar age gap kind of relationship, and no one's gonna have a problem with it. Not realizing that this is contemporary audiences, and we look at things like in a different way, and we at in 2026 we would look at a relationship, definitely look at a relationship between a 35-year-old and a 16-year-old. It's illegal. It's
yeah,
illegal.
absolutely.
But and we would and definitely frown upon compared to looking at a relationship in the 18th century in Great Britain.
Yeah. I mean, I will say also, like, I think I'm just this is personally I am annoyed at a lot of age gap discourse because there are younger fandoms online now that rip into the dumbest gaps, as in, oh, they're a year apart, ew, age gap.
No.
and but also there is the other side of that, which is there is now criticism, or like discourse around, there's 1,000-year-old immortal and a teenager. And
Like Twilight.
honestly, like Twilight, like
Buffy.
Buffy, what's it called, I think even Court of Thorns and Roses, like
Hell, Lord of the Rings for that point.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
but that's the
Aragorn.
Aragorn is not a teenager.
No, but that's still
Arwen is thousands of years old.
yeah, that is still an age gap.
Relative to her.
Yeah. He's a teen to her, so
Yeah, yeah.
That's hilarious. But like, but also they're at different stages in their lives.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
But like, but in the modern paranormal romance, sometimes like you'll find an immortal dude and a teenage girl, and
Always.
like
Constant.
I do want like. I do take issue with that age gap in real life, but like should it exist? But like I do want to remind people that characters are characters and people are people.
Yeah.
Characters are not people. Characters are tools in order to tell your story and propel it forward to whatever point you want it to make. And people need to remember fiction remains in fiction. And its fiction is a safe space to explore things.
Facts.
Please.
I will watch or read any rendition of Boys Over Flowers, but like in real
Yeah.
life, every single one of them would be in jail.
I hate every single man in Boys Over Flowers, but I will always watch the female lead, whoever they may be, take the lead guy down a peg. I swear to God.
I know.
Whether
There's like true
whether it's
enemies of the
Tsukushi
lover.
and what's her name? What's his name again? My God, Tsukasa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Domyoji.
yeah, Tsukasa Domyoji, or fucking God. I see the Taiwanese and I've seen the Korean, and I'm losing all of these names, so I will just stick to those.
I loved the Thailand version, even with all of the crazy amount of product placement in it.
I mean, it makes sense. A product placement inside voiceover flowers makes so much sense.
It was KFC chicken. That
Ah!
I'm like, you guys are billionaires essentially, and you're eating KFC chicken all the time. Anyway,
Anyway,
uh,
all of those guys would be in jail. True.
yes, they would all be in jail. Bro, and they wouldn't even be together in real life, actually. Which is why China banned rich guy, poor girl romance.
Oh my god, wait, I heard about this. I heard about this because okay. Wait, this is a different this is entirely different context altogether, but I did hear about this because they said they want Chinese women to stop like fantasizing that they can marry rich men. It's interfering with with the actual like romance market or whatever, like with like people actually getting together in real life. I'm crying laughing. But I think I also saw an article where if I recall correctly, in the West, fantasy, a rich what do you call, a poor girl marries a rich guy, but in Chinese fantasy, uh men like poor men marry rich girls
Mm,
because
I don't like that.
it's a thing. I'll find the reel. It was a very interesting perspective.
Cool.
My god, that's so funny though, banning
Yeah.
rich man poor girl media. Oh,
Well, yeah,
funny.
that's. I have so much beef with China and their media, but it is not terrible. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Mm-mm.
So our next one is, I think women rights. I'm mostly 90% of the shit that I read are queer romances, women loving women, men loving men. Most of it is from Kindle Unlimited, which you should not partake in, and but a lot of self-published slop because it's not readily available. It is, but it isn't readily available in bookstores and libraries, at least the type of stuff that I like to read. But I'm finding it hard to find romances written by gay romance, specifically written by men, that I genuinely enjoy or I feel like are at the same level of women, queer or otherwise, writing romance. Heated rivalry. Heated rivalry not being the exception, because that book series, that I have no desire to read the rest of those books. But I guess this is coming from like having read like the male version of She Breasted Boobily when she walked into her apartment.
My god.
And so you're just like, and even in comics, right? So like even comics made by gay men for gay men, you're just like, there are just a lot of emphasis on different things that, again, I am not the audience for it, obviously, but like it's just, sometimes I like my purple prose, and so I also don't need all of the facts of what this man's hairy six pack looks like. Like, or maybe not, I don't know, but that is my take on it. And then also there's been a lot of discourse over the years, but I don't think it makes you a fetishist for if you're a woman who reads it or writes it, or I mean, I think if you make it your entire personality, then that's a whole other question, or how you consume gay romance in general. But I don't think being an initial consumer enjoyer of it does make you a fetishist.
Yeah, there's just way too much people are talking about it where they don't even understand like what the heck they're talking about. So
Yeah.
like it's so tiring. But like my personal take in with that is just that like I think just based on vibes alone, like women are more established in the romance genre than men and hit the correct expectations of the genre. And majority of the audience like tends to be for women or for like or for queer people. So like it's the it's kind of the same way where like people talk about how I can tell when a man was written by a woman.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm just like, honestly,
Oh,
yeah.
is he perfect and you love him? Definitely written by a woman.
I mean, there is also like I may have beef. Like I may have beef with a lot of fictional men. As I just have beef with a lot of fictional men. But like unfortunately, like I will take that over breasting boobily down the stairs, even though I know I do physically do it.
I think it's a little complicated, a little more complicated than that.
Truly
Like
is.
to say, oh, women are better at writing gay male romance. Like that's not your experience. You don't even know what it's about, but you have
True.
an idea, you have a concept of it.
Right.
And maybe that concept is what, women are writing for women, this gay male romance. It's a
Yeah.
specific thing that is separate from saying this is the gay male experience. And I
Yeah.
would just say, like,
Yeah.
maybe you haven't read the right books because I have read some really great. Maybe romance wasn't like the full. I wouldn't call it a romance novel, but it was like there was a romantic element in it, and it was written
Mm-hmm.
very well, and it was just like a literary fiction, but it was written by a gay man,
Yeah.
and it's
Mm.
stronger than anything that you could say. Oh, this is like a really sweet male romance, but it's just like this.
Yeah.
This is different. This is not the same thing.
But
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
not
say that
thinking it's
hits
based on like the experience because obviously like they don't know that experience, but to Tessa's point, it's like it does hit the marks of the romance. And I also have like Bart Yates, and I don't know when the last time he wrote a book, but I think in the more traditional sense of what a romance is, even TJ Klune before he became more mainstream had like a pretty decent romance career that I enjoyed under that. So I'm not saying that they don't. I think just it's just like my general experience. I don't think it's better. Better is like not the right wording. It's just different in the types of romances that I like to read
I also
versus like
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I also don't want to point out that like for some reason when more gay men or like queer people like don't necessarily write romance, it usually falls into like literary fiction or general
Yeah.
fiction, and it just happens to have a romantic element in it depending on what's going on in like the story. So it hits all the benchmarks for literary or general fiction, but not romance expectations, and that's what the difference is. Like
Yeah.
we're looking at romance genre books versus a a fiction book or like a literary fiction book with a romance element in it. There's huge difference in market, difference in audience, difference in opinion.
Yeah, and I think a woman should, or what, like non-binary, any kind of woman can continue writing these type of books. I mean, these appeal
Absolutely.
to this is the market for it. But I think sometimes like what I read is like what I have read has been stronger in a romance in the plot, but not the entire plot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's perfect. Like what Barry, like I liked Bury Your Gaze. I will read anything by Chuck
I
Taylor.
have not read it. I have not read it.
Wow, Evelyn,
I
just
know I'm falling
wow.
behind.
You're the one that recommended it to
Isn't that crazy?
Did I
us.
not get you bury your gaze? I can't remember. Or was it the other one? I can't remember.
Yeah. And I like, and there's like a graphic novel that Tabrish and I read, The Pink Flamingo, and I love Dean Ada and like that experience. And I think I will say that queer romance or LGBTQ romance is really to me superior in the YA genre than it
It
is
is. I was about to say
Yeah.
that.
in the
Yeah.
YA genre. Like you do get that more non-binary lived experience because I feel like that's where like I mentioned before, like TJ Klune is really like, but he just came out with like he didn't just come out with it, but he came out with like that superhero duology, uh, like maybe 5, 6 years ago. But and there's one that I've started reading called They Were Roommates, which is YA. But yeah, I think queer YA has a great balance of voices versus like the traditional romance genre. I would love to see more examples of more mainstream traditional romances written by male authors or like
Yeah.
male-bodied authors.
It's
Cause
they're more in YA because you have like you
yeah,
said, Dean Ada, Simon James Green, Jamada Emil. They do a great queer
Co Jackson. I think, but
Kostoko
I think
Jackson.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's under some controversy though, so maybe we shouldn't show.
Oof.
Damn.
I think I think it was a while ago, and I think and what George M. Johnson, Leah M. Johnson, like no relation. But yeah, I would like to see, I would like to be proven wrong at the end of the day
Yeah.
by like what is available to artists. We're not going to touch on Omegaverse because I think I'm getting tired. We're going to, and
And
I'm
I do not want a shovel to dig into this specific
look.
topic.
I feel like you and we hashed it out in the comments, and that's all that all that matters. So we're
We're
gonna end
good.
on whoever said predictability and hitting the beats does not appeal to me.
Oh, that was me. And I think I
Well, there you go.
probably touched on that earlier with saying that I find, general romance. You know what it is? I was reading a couple of romance books recently, and I just got so turned off of the genre. It's not. One was in Spanish. Actually, because it was in Spanish, it actually held me a little bit more. Actually, it was written by a gay man, so kudos to that. But it still was that predictable kind of plotline, which I know is part of the romance genre. It has to hit these beats. This is what everyone wants and expects. And I
Yeah.
guess it's kind of just, not for me. And it's just, I don't know. It's not especially appealing to me to, have this kind of method or pattern. And it just bothers me a little that it all has to be, tied up in a nice little bow. Like, that's fine. Like, you can find comfort in that, and that's great. But at the same time, I feel like there probably have been some romances that have, that I've actually read and like kind of enjoyed, but they were probably a little more different. They were probably a little more out there than what is the general pattern.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I will read multiple instances of like a grumpy sunshine couple, or like a rivals to lovers or something like, yes, they're different but and the same, and yet like I will eat it up every time. Like sometimes I will take a trope and I love it very much and I will find it in every universe, and that's just what my life is.
What's interesting is that I find this in fan fiction all the time, and I can read it and I love it. But for some reason, all the romance that is like published, it just does not hit it for me, and I can't figure it out why. Maybe because I have to be more invested. Like in
Mm-hmm.
fan fiction, I am definitely invested in these characters and I know more
Yeah,
about them. And okay, all these AUs, and it's hitting the usual marks, and that's fine. That works for me. But for some reason, the published ones just don't do it.
I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
sometimes you can just get a
don't
break.
find mainstream published stuff to be appealing either, which is why I read garbage
I
on
think
Yeah, like I don't want to be
Kindle.
turned off, but here's the thing, I don't want to be turned off of the genre either. Like
Yeah,
that's not helpful to anyone. So I'm just saying, like, this is what I find, this is what I have read, and I would like to find like those few little exceptions, those little diamonds, which I'm sure exist and are out there, so that I don't say, oh, this whole genre is garbage. Because it's
yeah.
not. It clearly
no,
isn't.
absolutely not.
I have not found those gems. And I would like to. That's the thing. I would like to.
I
So
Yeah.
I
think
think
what you're already go ahead, Sabrina.
well no, I was like I was gonna say is like I think I was like in a similar slump and phase with the romance genre. Like I don't read as much romance as I used to when I was a teenager and younger. I had to take a break because it was just after a while it was just becoming the same thing over and over again. And probably maybe that's something that you'll have to do. Is like you just take a break and just read something else. Like me, like read romance like occasionally, like just slip in one or two in there, but probably just like absorb yourself in another genre that you know that you will enjoy, and then maybe you will start to like slowly come back to the romance and find those hidden gems, because I feel like if you constantly read the same thing over and over again, then it's just going to be draining and you're going to be like, oh wow, this is just like it's getting tired and annoying to read any of the books in the genre.
So
I
that
mean,
being said, I have books for you guys. Yeah.
yeah. I think at the end of the day, it's like you're already doing it. Like you're already reading books where romance is a plot within it. And I think I mean, that's still romance. It's just not, Allie Hazelwood or whatever.
Mhm.
And but if you like those types of romances, like what's like the plot that's within it, just be like, oh, I like this type of romance plot, whatever is in the book, and then like find books that kind of where that's the whole story.
You're telling me to
It,
use Chat GPT here?
no, I'm not telling you to.
Let's not.
However it is you do your due diligence and research in finding books that appeal to you. But I think if you're like, oh, I'm an enemies to lovers plot person. I'm like, oh, I like enemies to lovers. I like second chance romances, stuff like that. So I think circling back to our earlier conversation of a glossary. So if you like a romance glossary and finding out the different types of tropes that you're into and then going from there and finding the books that you might like versus like a blanket like, oh, well, I'll just try this versus and this is my librarian brain versus like just kind of picking something random off the shelf and then so it's best to start off with something you know you'll like, obviously, and then branching out to something else. So if you want to read something about cryptid romances, read Ice Planet Barbarians and see.
Sadly, I did go specific on that most recent one. It just wasn't written well. I think that was the problem.
Yeah. Well, there's tons of like monster romances, and then there's like that book series like playing in the where the woman like fell into a demon's lap and now they're
Oh, Kimberly
married.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Those books, those are fun. Like
Yeah. So if you
very
like
ridiculous,
sci-fi
very fun.
action adventure. So yeah, Tessa knows the title, obviously. But yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap up. We are still friends? Question mark?
Tune in next time.
Yeah, I
We'll see
mean,
if the podcast survives this outrage.
I'm still friends with Whitney, Evelyn, and Tessa. Chris
Oi.
is on. What do you mean, oi?
We're still friends. It's fine. I'm going to briefly read through all of the books that we're reading. We don't have to go into synopsis. We will put them on our site for you guys to look at. Evelyn is reading Anna Karenina. Wow.
Hey, it's time.
Tessa,
Is it?
make books 500 pages or less.
Excuse me, 800 pages?
800, yeah.
Exactly. Tessa's reading Treasure Island, another hefty book. Chris is reading
It's not
Secrets
really
of
hefty. It's actually
No?
No, it's not. It's really not that hefty.
The kids' book, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is a
Treasure
kid's
Island.
book.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was thinking of
Well,
something
now it's
else.
a kid's book. I mean, originally it was just a fiction book.
yeah. It's.
Oh.
I'll be honest. It's been fun.
Yeah, I mean it's Treasure Island. That's what Blackbeard was Blackbeard in that?
No,
No.
it's
No.
Long John Silver.
Long
Blackbeard was
John
the actual
Silver.
pirate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Chris is reading Secrets of the First School by T.L. Huchu. Teresa is doing her Jane Austen thing with Sense and Sensibility and reading The Midnight Taxi by Yosha Sakira. And I just finished reading because I was on some reading committee. I just finished reading Soften the Blow by Bread Tarleton.
Ooh.
Um, it's a great graphic novel about trans rage. So,
Oh.
Let's go.
so I highly recommend reading it. And with that, thank you for listening to Fake Book Club. You can listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, and wherever it is you get your podcasts. And you can visit our website and listen to past episodes at fakebookclubpodcast.wordpress.com. I was totally about to say the wrong thing. And we will catch you all, hopefully, we'll catch you all next month. Have a good rest of your evening. Bye.
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 Bye.